Hello! Welcome back to Twin Bill. Our two twins are on the bill. Bill says Marcus Luna. Bill says Jason Luna. How are you doing, Marcus?
Pretty good. How are you?
I am doing well. Um, it's the Halloween season as of this recording. I think technically we'll be just poking our head out of it into the dawn, sunrise of Thanksgiving season, which I don't think anyone calls it that, but I guess it more pumpkin lattes, I guess. But, yeah. But anyway, so this is spooky season. Marcus last week has a ear for critically acclaimed movies of yore. So we're doing Kathryn Bigelow's Near Dark. Before we get fully started, well, let's just get into it. I think our energy's good. We don't need improv game this week. Screw you, improv. Come for you, Second City, Chicago. Yeah, I was punching my hand for audio. uh, so we're gonna do a new format. Try to speed things up a little. Have a little more bing bang boom. So I'm gonna attempt from memory to describe the plot of the movie. Marcus, keep me in check a little, but I think I mostly got it. So Near Dark. Uh, Current day. The movie's filmed in 1987, so current day 1987. But anyway, small town Oklahoma. Adrian Pazdar is he's a ranch hand. He works on the family farm, and he's out at night on the doing the social scene, and he sees this young lady eating a ice cream cone, and he strikes up a conversation. Kind of picks her up. They kind of have a date throughout the evening, and they reach the point of the evening where he wants to kiss her, and instead she bites him on the neck. By God, that lady's a vampire. By God. So the evening sort of ends, and just kind of I guess more kind of awkward than anything. And then Adrian Pazdar's on his farm. He starts like dissolving into ash while he's trying to do his job, and sort of a Deus Ex RV, if you will, a an RV with lining on it, like what do you call that? I'm blanking on it. Silvery material on the inside that blocks the windows.
Oil, I guess.
What?
Oil.
No, I'm talking about the tinfoil. Yeah. It's an RV with tinfoil in it, and it shows up and it scoops up Adrian Pazdar, and it turns out part of the reason that the woman, her name's May, bit Adrian Pazdar on their date was to make a vampire and to integrate her into the vampire gang that is roving the general area. They don't get into too much, but anyway. And then gang's got a lot of colorful characters in it. Bill Paxton and oh my god,
It's Henrikson.
yep, and the angry marine from Aliens, the
Some
lady,
kid.
and yeah, the little kid who's trapped in a man trapped in a kid's body. So they kind of play it like Adrian Pazdar's a vampire now. So he's like he's kind of stuck, and he has to hang with the vampires to survive. And there's a lot of resistance on Adrian Pazdar's part. It's like I don't know, and but he sort of sticks around because he realizes he's really dependent on drinking human blood, which is very awkward. But and the vampires, they have a thing in a bar. I guess we kind of talk about that on its own. It's kind of a standalone thing, but basically get in a fight with some locals and kill a lot of people. And they go to a hotel for the night. And it turns out Adrian Pazdar's family's been looking for him this whole time and stopped at the same hotel. And then the cops show up the next morning, try to shoot the vampires. Adrian Pazdar's dad rescues him from the vampires, performs a transfusion. Adrian Pasdar is no longer a vampire. May and the rest of the vampires come back. May wants Adrian Pasdar to come back to the vampires, but everyone else wants to kill Adrian Pasdar. There's an exciting action sequence with an exploding truck, and Adrian Pasdar gets away, but he also rescues the girl May, gives her a blood transfusion, and now they're both not vampires and can theoretically live happily ever after on the farm. Is that a good summary of the plot, Marcus?
Yeah, I guess got the basic beats. You skipped over some action sequences, but
Yeah, I don't want to get too technical, like this happens, but yeah. So, before we get into our critical showdown or whatever, I wanted to read a review. Normally on this segment, I would read a Roger Ebert review, but oddly, it was weird. I could not find an exact listing of his review of Near Dark. People on Google were summarizing his review, which the weird part was the summary is he said, Roger Ebert, Near Dark's a very good vampire movie. I think it's one of the best modern vampire movies, right up there with George Romero's Martin, which I know nothing about, but George Romero's a good director. But then also in the same blurb I found, they would always say Roger Ebert gave it a bad review. So I don't know what's going on there. Some bad editing on Wikipedia or whatever. Yeah. So the actual review I pulled, which I thought was very clever, like a lot of New York Times reviews. Karen James wrote, Miss Bigelow's two studied compositions, Caleb in silhouette riding a horse towards the camera, clash with her unstudied approach to the character's looks. Which is a good launching point of this movie. I think we have different takes on the full critical outcome of it. But I think there's a certain energy with the filmmaking component of the movie, and there's sort of lingering questions about the characterizations of characters, particular Adrian Pasdar and the May girl trying to like shoehorn a romance in there. What did you think of Adrian Pasdar's acting in this film?
um, he gets outshined by the other actors in the movie, but I do think that um, I think it's kind of on purpose. Uh, so I think it's not the best acting ever, I guess, but he's doing his job pretty well, so it's a
Yeah,
pretty good job of him. I certainly wasn't bothered by his acting. I guess some movies like, oh my God, you watch a movie and like, oh my God, that actor was terrible. And that certainly wasn't it. So
yeah. It's a very common point in movies. I'm trying to think of a good example, but a movie where it's like the quote unquote meat of the movie, like the advertising is like, oh, there's these crazy characters, but you always need a character who's like normal and kind of like is new to the group and can react to the things. So I think that's what she was going for. Is kind of like we're following Adrian Pasdar in because you're right. It would be impossible to make a movie about uh, Lance Henrikson and Bill Paxton because they're both insane and potentially nefariously evil in their own ways, which makes for a lot more riveting watching. But at the same time, you can't really identify with a character arc with that.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I had some notes when I first started watching this movie. I thought it was a lot more artsy than it was going to end up. Because I agree with Karen James's note, because there was a lot of like pastoral shots of small town Oklahoma and the farm, and even the first scene where she she takes the blood from the guy, and then Adrian Pasdar sucks on her wrist to get the blood out. I thought the movie was gonna be a lot more symbolic like that,
He
but then
does
it
do it a couple times, which was weird.
yeah. But then the movie, I guess we'll talk about the action sequences a little more intricately because those are just badass. I mean, recency bias, but it's like some of the best action sequences I've seen in a long time. They didn't have a lot of dialogue to like overly explain it, but everything made sense. Very a lot of kinetic energy. I was very impressed.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, well, I mentioned it in my plot summary, but yeah, the just a great image. I mean, it's a pretty simple thing if you think about it, but in the moment where it's like the cops are shooting at Adrian Pasdar, and it's sunny outside, and he's running for the blanket while he's theoretically being riddled with bullets and covering himself so he doesn't die in the sun. He doesn't care about the bullets because he's like invincible or whatever. And it's like very cool, stylistic visual shot. Also shot in like a semi slow mo glamour shot kind of way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they don't really spoil with the DP here because it's actually he's the most prolific of anyone in the film. Um, it's an Israeli cinematographer named Adam Greenberg. Uh, they use slow motion really effectively well. I think if it was shot in full speed, that blanket sequence wouldn't be as effective. There's other action sequences that use the slow motion well. They did both Terminator movies. Um,
Hmm.
the first two Terminator movies, I mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Both Cameron ones. So I was gonna pull up the Wikipedia. Oh, there you go. Du-du-du-du. Oh yeah, no, it's very interesting to me. Kind of tying back to the whole. This is both an exciting action movie, also a bit of a horror movie, and also artsy horror action. And it's co-written by Kathryn Bigelow. She's associated more with artsiness because she has an Academy Award and all that. But then co-written by Eric Red, who wrote The Hitcher, which is his most prestigious film besides this, and The Hitcher is not that good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting melding of the minds of like. I wonder. I couldn't. Obviously, Wikipedia is not going into this kind of depth, but I wonder what. This is early in her career too, but like what motivated Kathryn Bigelow to do such an experimental elevation of a horror genre in this way. It's very seems like a very particular mindset. Uh, yeah.
It's her first solo feature, so it's unfortunate the movie didn't make money because it's good and it was actually pretty low budget. Um,
Yeah. I guess just for our audience who may not watch the movie or haven't seen it yet, the other big action set piece that they pulled off really well was the whole thing with the semi truck. But so I was a little confused about the semi truck because yeah, you can explain it to me because what I remember is that Adrian Pasdar and May were in the truck with the driver, and the truck explodes and kills Bill Paxton. So what was the sequence of events?
what's the big showdown? Uh, it's basically being led to a trap with his kidnapped sister.
Right.
Um, that's basically the lead up of events.
So Adrian Pasdar intentionally got in the truck to order to drive it into Bill Paxton, or
Yes, they try to kill him. Uh, Jeanette Goldstein's character Diamondback throws a knife at him and he ducks. Yeah, and then he jumps into a truck. That was kind of cheesy in hindsight that they pick him a ride from a trucker earlier in the movie, and the trucker teaches him how to drive the truck and brake the truck,
oh yeah.
and it comes in handy with this truck.
So Jeanette Goldstein and what's his name? Jeff. What's the boy's name? Toby. Did they both died also in this sequence?
Sorry, say that again.
Jeanette Goldstein, the angry Marine from Alien,
Hmm.
Toby both died in the at the end of the movie also.
Yeah, that was Toby the boy.
Yeah, the man trapped in a boy's body or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they in the madness at the final showdown and it's turning into daytime, Toby falls out of the car and explodes from exposure sunlight, and then Lance Henriksen and Jeanette Goldstein died driving in the car. They kind of they try to run down Adrian Pasdar in May, but they kind of
Hmm.
give up and blow up.
Yeah. Uh, what else do I want to talk about? Well, while you're thinking of something else you want to talk about, unless you have it already, I could talk about because you mentioned, I think briefly, or I did or something, but this movie came out in 1987, and what other movie came out in 1987 that was very similar to this movie in some ways?
The more family friendly Lost Boys.
Yep. And I have a list of similarities that I noted. Some of it's a little bit intellectual extrapolation, but uh, in Lost Boys, it's Jason Patrick. In this movie, it's Adrian Pasdar. But both young men who are in some way seduced into hanging out with a vampire cult, but both eventually decide, I don't want to do this anymore. It was a lot more basic in Lost Boys. There was no, he never even got bit. Lost Boys is freaking tame compared to this movie.
Yes. It's much more, if you can say something's realistic about vampires, I would say Near Dark is very realistic about what being a vampire would be like, I think.
I was talking about we were talking about this off air a little bit. The book Get Shorty, which turned into a very popular movie, Elmore Leonard novel, that it's set in Hollywood, and at one point they're just talking about screenwriting, and the guy mentioned that Near Dark was the only original take ever on a vampire movie because it was set in real time, and people were hiding all day from the sun. And it really showed that. And most vampire movies just sort of stick with the like, isn't it cool when they're out at night? So more basic similarities, but leather jackets. I feel like that's very common in a lot of movies, but vampires both like leather in both movies. And yeah, those are the main ones. And then more interesting, because the movie Interview with the Vampire didn't come out until I believe 93, but the book came out in like 76.
Yeah, it was kind of in development hell.
So it's like the book was very popular not for a very long time, but before Near Dark came out, and then obviously well before the movie. But there were similarities, kind of like Lost. I guess it's just a trope with all vampire movies, but it was a guy who got seduced into vampirism in the Interview with the Vampire book also. Although in the book it's a man who bites him, not a woman. A little more of a gay subtext in the Interview with the Vampire universe. The one that's very odd, it almost seems like a ripoff, is it's a girl played by Kirsten Dunst in the Interview with the Vampire movie, but the same exact trope where they bite a child and the child grows so much as an immortal vampire that they become a jaded adult trapped in a child's body.
Yeah.
You think that was just coincidence, or you think Kathryn Bigelow was all ripping off Annie Rice?
Hmm. It's tough to say. Um, it's very possible because Catherine Bigelow's background when she was a painter, so it's kind of there's no way to confirm she's stealing from
Yeah,
but someone who does paint probably is familiar with a lot of literature, so maybe.
and maybe and Eric Red was a big fan of horror movies, like I imagine. So maybe he was maybe it was his crime and it's his fault. Oh, very subjective. You have any other plot points you want to talk about? This movie is so good; it's kind of hard to like nitpick a lot of the plot decisions and stuff.
No, I think I cover everything. Overall, it's just kind of really interesting that I guess everyone loves Dracula, so it's romanticizing, oh, I get to be the king of the night every night. But what does Dracula do during the day? And I guess it's so easy for Dracula because he has this castle. It's like a fortress.
Yeah, he's like rich. He has like this perfect location where there's not very many people around. Yeah, we can list all the realistic things about vampires in this movie, but another obvious one that you kind of implied, which is that vampires would just be like the most wanted criminals in the history of mankind because they murder people every night.
Well, that's why not only do they sleep, have to stay inside all the time and avoid the sun, but they're also very vagabondy, basically hobos.
Yeah, they're broke in the too because when Lance Henrikson goes to the hotel, he barely has like $1 in his inside pocket or whatever for the bungalow.
Yeah.
So yeah, very clever and stuff. So I guess it's harder to review a good movie. We have more bad movies in the future, I'm sure. So I guess to wrap things up, Marcus, can you say you'd be a like could be anything like a character behind the scenes, a scene, favorite moment and least favorite moment of the movie, and then a total score.
Uh, like we've been saying, there's a lot of positives for favorite thing. I'm gonna give whoever did makeup for this movie. Let's see if it's on Wikipedia. It's not. It's more of an IMDb thing, I guess. I'm gonna give a lot of credit to the makeup department of this film. The dirty hobo look and the burn marks, the burn deformed faces when they get exposed to much of the sun but don't quite get killed. Most often happens to Bill Paxton's character. In
Hmm.
fact, that's one of the main posters is Bill Paxton looking all effed up. Is really well done. I think well, they're obviously evil because they kill humans. It really accentuated the theme of the tortured, tortured humans, tortured souls, I should say, because they're not humans. And like I say, I like a lot of things, so it's hard to pick a least favorite, but actually, it's not that hard because I guess he's doing his part well, but what's his name? The guy, the kid.
Toby, Jeffrey
I don't think it
something
was
is his actor
Homer.
name.
Oh, isn't the kid Homer?
Sorry, you're right, Homer. I don't know if I thought Toby. I guess another little boy's name, but
He was just, I get he's a de dejected. It does suck to be a vampire stuck in a kid's body when you've seen so many things and it's like it's time to grow up. I want to be like Bill Paxton and just comes off as a douchebag, uh, kind of punchable. Like I don't like kids who act like that, so he's my least favorite part. And then, yeah, it's not a perfect movie, but it's pretty close. So I'll give it a 9.
I can't disagree with that too much. So, before I get to my favorite part, briefly mention great acting by a lot of people, but Lance Henrikson and Bill Paxton, R.I.P. Bill Paxton, uh, it's not like put way. Oh, I hate to put it like this, put way too much good acting into this for a vampire movie, but very subtle, nuanced performances. But my actual favorite, it's a scene, is they're at the hotel, and Homer approaches this little girl who's at the soda machine, and he's like, "What are you doing out?" He's like, "What are you doing out this late at night, little girl?" Like he's like awkwardly hitting on her, and then she turns around and puts her hands on her hips. And is like, "I'll do whatever I want, where I want." And then you figure out that that's Adrian Pasdar's sister, and then you obviously later find out his dad was out looking for him, and they're at the same hotel. And that's what I love about this movie is that when the plot gets going, all these kinetic things connect really quickly, so you're never bored and you're always like invested and moving forward. They don't overly explain it because up until the parent, and the reason I like the scene so much is because up until the dad shows up, the movie's sort of like, in this sad like Adrian Pasdar is a vampire. He doesn't want to be. Oh, it's kind of sad. I kind of thought the movie was going to be more emotional exploration of the vampire, which is fine. But after that scene, boom, boom, pow, greatest action we've ever made for like an hour. It was awesome. And my least favorite scene, it's a bit of a nitpick. And honestly, I'm not that mad at the movie for it, because like you say, it's a very good movie. But I was kind of disappointed in the cop out of the dad knows how to do transfusions and cures vampirism. Just felt like it deflated a lot of the stakes for Adrian Pasdar in the middle of the movie, and I'm not a big fan of the mega happy ending because it was kind of antithetical to the story of the vampires. But I guess I'm glad that wasn't like a depressing horror movie. But yeah, I would prefer a little more nuance. But you make it clean, you make it short. So that's the thing is like Kathryn Bigelow made such a mainstream movie, but now it's gonna always be buried in this sort of like, you know, like hidden gem weirdo movie thing because it made no money. It's just kind of sad, but yeah, great movie. And like you, I don't have any complaints. Still don't think Adrian Pasdar is a good actor. He's more of a TV actor, but he does okay. And this movie's worth seeing. Had a lot of epiphanies watching it, so uh, just Price is Right, you'll say 8.5, but very good movie. So we're officially out of our Halloween bubble. So for next week, I thought, like I mentioned, oh, I know this movie will not be as good as Near Dark. It does have a bit of a cult reputation, but how much do you like Chris Elliott, Marcus?
Uh, I don't know him that well. He was on SNL for what, a season?
Yeah, that was terrible. He's barely on it. But
Uh, he's actually pretty good in There's Something About Mary.
he's a good, funny guy. We're gonna see way too much of him because the movie that effectively ruined his film career we're watching next week, Cabin Boy. Any thoughts or expectations when I said that title, Marcus?
Yeah, it's pretty infamous, but I don't know anything about it.
Why
Um,
not? My understanding is, as you might expect, it's very weird and self-reverent or whatever, and also it's kind of a pirate movie or something. I have no idea, but we'll find out next week on Twin Bill. Yeah, Twin, hit the bill. Get your cold cuts. Get your cold cuts. Get your cold cuts. book me on your shows, or let's be best friends and hang out, maybe. I don't know.